This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hello. Hi. Oh, I'm little again on the side of the screen. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Waterfall Wednesday on the After Party Live. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all the emails. I got some great ones. I got one from teacher Lori, who told me all about the ice cream bear, which we'll get to in just a moment. I got one from Julie, who gave me a great lead on a story as well about a guy with nothing but a skateboard and a leash who managed to rescue a skunk. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But first, I just found this really cool story that I thought would serve to relax us well about some ancient chants that have been found. This is a university choir that is reviving music that was found hiding basically in plain sight in a book from Southern England's Buckland Abbey. What they found is some music, some old chants that they had not realized were sitting right there. Long lost music. This is a 500-year-old book recently discovered in Buckland Abbey in southwestern England with the monks' daily rituals, along with a rare collection of medieval music. And the chapel choir of the university got together and sang those songs just in the last couple of days. So I thought we could take a listen. Here's what it would have sounded like back in the 1500s. Here's the long lost music that we have been missing. I have it for you. Here it is. So it's like stepping back in history. If you kind of close your eyes and listen, that is what they would have heard way back when. A long lost book just sitting there, and they find this old music. So I thought that would be maybe a relaxing way to start. Maybe I'm just a little crazy. I don't know. All right, let's move though to this great story about the bear. I call him the ice cream bear, and the picture is super cute. There he is. He's just hanging out behind the ice cream counter. He's no fool. It happened in Tahoe with this bear who broke into an ice cream store in the Camp Richardson's area. And when they arrived, the sheriff's deputies found him. I say it's a him, it might be a her, found this bear helping itself to ice cream behind the counter. I don't think he had a scooper, don't think he had a cone, but he was going for it. He's just hanging out behind the counter like he belongs there. Wild. They say that ultimately the bear left the store, but he was really, really interested in the strawberry ice cream. They've named the bear Fuzzy the bear. They said interestingly, Fuzzy was super neat. There was hardly any damage. There was very little cleanup. Fuzzy the bear just went for that strawberry ice cream, knew exactly what Fuzzy wanted, and there it was. Yeah, the pictures are amazing because he looks like he works there. It's hilarious. So again, this is the El Dorado County Sheriff. So they say they were able to encourage Fuzzy to leave the shop. And yeah, they maybe have to replace the tub of strawberry ice cream, but that's it. It happened in the early morning hours, so it was an overnight, and he just got right behind the counter of the shop. Did it. Was had a bit of a sweet tooth, hankering for a sweet tooth. Okay, the next one is also a video, and I have to share this with you. Thanks to Julie, and thanks to Teacher Lori for the bear story. And thanks to Julie for this next one with this bear, the skateboarder that used his board and a leash to rescue a skunk at a park. Pretty clever rescue, I have to say. This is in Pennsylvania, and this man used his leash and a skateboard to give this animal an assist. And I do have video to share with you of this one. Unfortunately, it means we're going to have to say goodbye to Fuzzy. See you later, Fuzzy. Sayonara. All right. So here's the video. Check this out. Look at that. Skateboarder leaning down, knows the skunk can't get out. If you can see this. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I've shared it on the wrong screen. My apologies. Let me get the right screen for you. I'm watching it on my screen, but not realizing you can't see it on your screen. All right, let me try one more time. My apologies. Here you go. Okay, I'll get it right. I promise.
A precarious animal rescue. Danielle Galvin says she was out walking her dog in Reading over the weekend when she stumbled across a man who was trying to rescue a skunk.
The animal was stuck at the bottom of a skating bowl, so the man lowered a leash attached to a skateboard for the skunk to grab. Once he pulled it to safety, the skunk simply trotted away with the leash and the skateboard.
So there's pretty good. I love it. What an inventive rescue as well. Very cool. Have you seen this guy? Or this girl, I guess you could say. This is Mary Catherine, and she is the oldest trout that is known in the Great Lakes. She's really, really old. 62-year-old trout. Her nickname is Mary Catherine, and she lives in Lake Superior. She was born or hatched when President John F. Kennedy was in office. She lived through the 15 Summer Olympics so far. She is believed to be the oldest known specimen of her species ever caught in the Great Lakes. She was snapped up by the Michigan Department of Natural Resources in the Klondike Reef area at Lake Superior's southeastern side in 2023. They say she was just under 5 pounds, about 2 feet long, and even though she's super old, she wouldn't have really set any records for size, but her age is what made her stand out. Scientists used a structure inside of the ear called the otolith, or the ear stone, which grows throughout the years of a fish's life, so that they could count the rings to identify the age of the fish. They say they use this method for long-lived fishes like trout, lake whitefish, cisco, this types of fish. The fish where fin, spines, and scales are used to count annual rings for species like walleye, yellow perch, steelhead, and salmon. That's a whole nother system that they use for gauging the age. But from time to time, wildlife experts will take in fish in order to track the population health. And they say finding a fish that's old like this indicates that the lake trout in Lake Superior are doing okay, more than okay. They say lake trout are adapted to live in unproductive ecosystems, and that gives them the opportunity to have a slow, steady approach to life and to live longer. They don't have to hatch, migrate, spawn, and die in only a few years the way other fish do. They say Mary Catherine is a humper lake trout. It's a subspecies of trout usually found in offshore lake mounts in Lake Superior. They say Mary Catherine living such a long life in these kind of cold conditions is a good sign for lake trout living in the largest of the Great Lakes and also for their ability to adapt. Lake trout in Lake Superior are believed to live between 25 and 30 years. That's a long fish life. That's longer than I thought it was. The Michigan wildlife experts say the oldest trout reported in Lake Superior was estimated to be about 42 years old. They named this one Mary Catherine because of the year of her birth. It was the most popular name for girls in 1961. So it was Mary Catherine, followed by Lisa, Susan, Linda, and Karen. So this is the vintage of these names, apparently. I don't know what year Kim was popular, and it had to be 60s and 70s as well. So anyway, there's Mary Catherine. Mary Catherine, so far the Great Lakes' oldest known trout at 62 years old. She's an old lady. Yeah. There is a love hormone that could be the key to friendship as well. There you go. Here's two little voles. They're good buddies. They're just hanging out. Story out of Popular Science says oxytocin, we know it as the love hormone, helps prairie voles make friends faster. And then once they make friends, it helps them stay more loyal. The brain, the human brain, releases oxytocin during sexy times, childbirth, breastfeeding, social interactions, the hormones supporting feelings like attachment and closeness and trust. That's why we call it the love hormone or the happy hormone, even though it's linked with aggression as well. So, researchers took a look at the biological role of oxytocin and they decided that they were going to look at a species known for love and friendship, the prairie vole. And so they did. These prairie voles, which are found throughout central North America, have bonds, they say, that are similar to human friendships. They're selective and they're long lasting. They have bonds that they form with specific peers. A chemist from UC Berkeley, part of this study, saying the relationships can persist for long periods even when other social options are available. It makes prairie voles an excellent model for studying the biology of friendship. The study, recently published in the journal Current Biology, saw researchers analyze behavior of voles genetically modified to lack oxytocin receptors, which is kind of a lock for which oxytocin is the key. The hormone needs to open the lock in order to influence brain activities. So usually these friendly little voles form friendships within a day or two, and then they prefer familiar companions instead of strangers or other voles that they don't know. The researchers at UC Berkeley say prairie voles in this study without oxytocin receptors took longer to make friends. They were less aggressive towards strangers and less avoidant of the voles that they didn't know as well. When the researchers challenged the friendships by putting the pairs of voles in a group situation, the genetically modified animals immediately began mixing, but the regular voles would stay close to their friends for a period of time before they started socializing with others. In another experiment, researchers put the voles into a space where they had to press levers to reach either a friend, a mate, or a stranger. The regular female voles typically press the levers in order to get their partner, more to get their partner than a stranger, where they're in a peer or mate relationship. But the ones without oxytocin, they pushed more to get a mating partner, not the peer relationship. Oh, very interesting. And the takeaway from the study is that they think oxytocin is essential for building and keeping the bonds of friendships and how it shapes voles and how they interact with strangers. Now, does that have anything to do with us? Researchers suggest understanding friendship biology could provide insight into conditions that make it harder for someone to create or preserve social bonds. Maybe folks that are struggling with autism or schizophrenia, that maybe then we might be more understanding about why friendships and social interactions are a little more difficult. We talked on the Mark Thompson show about COVID today, um, and COVID vaccines. And I saw this story that does not bode well for those of us that have had COVID. I've had it once that I know of, and I'm sure some of you have as well. And unfortunately, I have this story about researchers finding premature aging in the blood vessels of COVID-19 patients. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, it is what it is. At this point, we've had it, but I guess it's good to know, right? Infection from COVID appears to cause especially women's blood vessels to age prematurely, increasing our risk of heart disease. That women infected with COVID experienced about 5 additional years of blood vessel aging, even if it was just a mild case of COVID. The results of this study, published in the European Heart Journal this month. The researchers say if a woman landed in the ICU with severe COVID, her blood vessels received up to 10 years of premature aging. Clinical pharmacologists at the Université Paris Cité in France said they know that COVID can directly affect blood vessels, and they think this can result in early vascular aging. So your blood vessels are older than your chronological age, and then you become more susceptible to heart disease. Lovely. This is what we needed, right? But they say if it is happening, that we need to identify who's at risk at an early stage to prevent heart attack and stroke. They said it's not just women here, that men also experience blood vessel aging as the result of COVID infections, but the effect of it wasn't as statistically significant among the people in the study that participated. The study pretty big, 2,400 people from 16 countries recruited between September of 2020 and February of 2022. And it wasn't just people infected by COVID, uh, but it was people not infected by COVID, then people affected by COVID that didn't require hospitalization, and then those were treated in a hospital or had an infection severe enough to require them to be admitted to an ICU. And so they looked at each person's vascular age with this device that measures how quickly a wave of blood pressure travels between the carotid artery in the neck and the femoral arteries in the legs. It's called the carotid femoral pulse wave velocity. And the higher the number, the stiffer and older a person's blood vessels have become. Don't you all want to know maybe we don't want to know what our carotid femoral pulse wave velocity looks like. The measurements were taken 6 months and a year after the COVID infection. They showed all three groups had stiffer arteries compared to those who were never infected. So, something to be aware of. If you had it in a super severe way, maybe. But again, what can we do other than be aware of it, right? They picked up an entire church, picked the whole thing up and moved it. They sure did. This happened in Sweden, where the church was in danger of falling into a mine. So it had to be moved. There was no choice. The entire Swedish church you see in the picture was relocated to avoid damage from the expansion of an iron ore mine right underneath it. The church is 113 years old. It's called the Karuna Church. So they picked it up and they put it on a trailer, and it's going to be taken to a new location. It'll take 2 days aboard the trailer for it to travel to its new home. But residents in this area started seeing cracks in buildings and roads underneath this iron ore mine. It's the largest iron ore mine in the world. So now they're starting to move buildings to a safe distance from this mine. And when they moved the church, they had a big ceremony. Large crowds came and watched the church be rolled away. They say people came not just from Kiruna, but from other parts of Sweden as well. There were all kinds of languages being spoken because everyone thought it was like history taking place in front of their eyes. A very historic event, very big, very complicated operation. And they say everything was under control. In Sweden, their law states that mining cannot take place under buildings. But there it is, happened anyway. They say there's no risk of people falling through cracks, but the fissures would eventually damage the water, electricity, and the sewing supply, and people have to move before the infrastructure fails. The church you see in the picture has this great altar painting made by Prine Eugen, and it is one of the most delicate aspects that they found in having to move this church because it's glued right onto a masonry wall. So it would have been really hard to remove it without damage. It is staying inside the church during the move, fully covered and stabilized. They also left the organ with 1,000 pipes inside as they roll this church on down the road. This was voted the Kiruna Church, Sweden's most beautiful pre-1950 building. So the church is beloved, and now it gets a new home 2 hours away, thanks to the mine. I saw this story and I'm pretty fascinated by it, maybe because I was rolling through some history notes with my daughter who's taking US history this year. And I know this is not necessarily by US history, but they're learning about conquistadors and explorers that came to the New World and whatnot. This is a 16th century document signed by conquistador Hernan Cortez that the FBI is now returning to Mexico. This item gives us a peek into the government of New Spain. It grew to cover this stretch of land from Washington State, what is now Washington State, to Louisiana and Central America. And the document details payments in pesos of gold for some expenses. It was signed by Hernan Cortez on February 20th of 1527. Hard to believe that the paper is still in such good shape. The FBI's art crime team said it gives a lot of flavor as to the planning and preparation for uncharted territory back then. But pieces like this are considered protected cultural property, and they represent valuable moments in Mexico's history. So they said it's something Mexicans have in their archives for the purpose of understanding their history better. The FBI said that this missing document was likely stolen between 1985 and 1993 due to a system of wax numbering used by Mexican archivists. At this point, no criminal charges are being filed connected to this case because it looks like the document changed hands many times over since it disappeared in Mexico. When Hernan Cortez signed these papers, he was the governor of New Spain. He was an experienced, wealthy colonist who helped spread Spanish control and also lots of violence to the Caribbean and to America as well. The same year this was signed, New Spain formed a high court called the Audiencia, and other royal and religious institutions that played a role in the government of Mexico until the War of Independence in 1810. You may know Hernan Cortez also for exploring and colonizing the Mayan kingdom in 1519, ignoring orders to stand down from Diego Velázquez de Cuellar, the governor of Cuba, and soon after conquering the Aztecs and their emperor Montezuma as well. In 1506, He took part in the conquests of Hispaniola, that's the Dominican Republic, and Haiti, and Cuba, and got a large estate and some indigenous slaves out of it as well. It's not the first time the FBI has had to return a Hernan Cortez document to Mexico. There was another letter authorizing the purchase of sugar that was found and returned as well. So they are still looking for other missing pages from the same collection. And they're asking anyone with information to come forward and submit a tip. It's 1-800-CALL-FBI in case you know where the missing Hernan Cortez documents are. Should we do this? Let's do the lotto of the day before we get to our waterfalls. This is about a guy who won $200,000 using the numbers from his license plate. Not the first time we've heard that license plate numbers can be lucky. This man from Maryland, he took inspiration though from another vehicle's license plate and bought a pick 5 lottery ticket that won him $200,000. This guy was on his 70-mile commute to work. That's a kind of a long ride. When his lottery inspiration struck, he said, I was going to work and I stopped at a red light in Charlotte Hall and I noticed the tag on a truck read 19363. 19363, he thought. That's cool. He used those numbers to buy tickets for the August 6th evening and August 7th midday pick 5 drawings. And then he checked the results and he thought, well, that number looks familiar. And he realized then he won $200,000. He said, I was gasping for air. I was so happy. He said, I'm going to renovate the old house. And he's going to get a crab cake. So there you go. $200,000 ought to be enough to get that done. It is time for Waterfall Wednesday. Yet another opportunity to relax. I got a message from Gordon who sent me some Japanese waterfalls, and they are incredibly beautiful. So thanks, Gordon, for the message. And I thought we could go through these Japanese waterfalls together and take a look and see what they've got going on, because I'm thinking these are some pretty relaxing waterfalls. Really, really nice. And I think I can add this to the page. Maybe not. Let me try again. I think I've messed it up already. You know, it happens. Okay, we'll try it again. These are waterfalls from Japan. It's a selection of the most magnificent waterfalls. And I have to say, I'm kind of already in love, really. Here it is. Here's the waterfalls in Japan. I have to remove this picture, and here we go. Look at that. Okay, that's such a pretty waterfall, right? I'm already in love with Japanese waterfalls. So beautiful. For some reason, I think we did caves in Japan, but for some reason it felt like we had already done waterfalls in Japan, and I don't think we have. But this is Kamikawa Falls in Kagoshima. So, so pretty. One of the most beautiful waterfalls that you will see in Japan. The multiple streams of water falling, some high, some a little lower, all into this beautiful pool of water, and it just looks so incredible. Another one that they are recommending is this beautiful waterfall with the Japanese architecture in the background. Check this out. Look at that. Very, very pretty. Yeah. I'm so glad we're checking out the waterfalls in Japan. So this one is in the prefecture of Kagoshima. It's called Nagano Falls. This is where water twists between the mossy, craggy rocks into an open cave. They say it's not easy to find this one. You have to follow very small Japanese signs that point the way along narrow country roads. It'll take you by age-old farms, rice fields, vegetable gardens, down a narrower road path, and finally you get to the 13-meter tall Nagano Falls. But what a treat. Isn't that a view? So pretty. Here's another beautiful one. Uh, this is my apologies. What you're looking at here is called Nachi Waterfall. The Nachi Waterfall and the Seganto Temple. And it's a 3-story pagoda. That is what you're looking at. That is the Nachi Waterfall. Now I'll actually show you the waterfall I was just talking about. And look how beautiful it is. Look at that. That's where it goes down into the cave. That's pretty special. So that is the Nagano Falls down a narrow road in this rural area that is hard to find, but we get to see it together. Very, very beautiful. And here's another one. This is the Aomori Orasi Gorge over the Orasi River. It goes northward from Lake Tawada through a forest of trees, moss, and then here's what you end up with. This beautiful Kumoi Falls. I have to show you. So there's the river, which looks like a waterfall in and of itself. But check it out. This is the real deal. There. That's so pretty. And there's what it looks like at the bottom. Look at the leaves and the changing colors. So beautiful. So that is Kumoi Falls at the Orasi Gorge. And it's a great hike, they say. Really beautiful. Yeah, gorgeous. Here's another one. This is Yamadera Yamagata. And I don't see the waterfall in this, but the picture is worth checking out. Check this one out. Look at those mountains. And look at that view. So, so pretty. Wow. Some beautiful Japanese scenery. This is along the Koyo River. They say Koyo is the Japanese word that describes changing colors of leaves in autumn. The first waterfall in this area came after crossing an old wooden bridge and across patches of mud and uneven stones. But here's the waterfall in this area. They say very worth it to see. Look at all the different colors. So pretty. This is Arare Falls in Yamagata. Arare means hail, hail falls. It's 10 meters tall. It's called a hidden gem. And here's the footbridge you have to cross over before you get to it. You can almost feel being there and walking over this footbridge. Look at the colors. Sorry for the shaky picture. Look at the colors and the footbridge there. Can you picture yourself there? That's so beautiful. And you can hear the falls in the background, so you know what's coming, right? So pretty. Also in this area, you turn the corner and there's yet another waterfall, Kinuito Falls, also in Yamagata. And look at this. So here you are, you cross the footbridge, you turn the corner, and what do you see? You see that. Look at that. So pretty. Kinuito Falls, it means silk thread falls. They say it spreads like threads as it descends 22 meters along a stone face. So pretty. This one looks really tall. This is in a different region. It's called the Kigon Falls in Tochigi, and it is truly breathtaking. So is this one. But check out this. Look at that waterfall. I mean, wow. That is wild. This Keegan Falls, it means Dragon Head Falls. And they say it cascades in a graceful dance, 210 meters to a rocky pool below. Ryuzu Falls is another one. Look at this. This one really does spread out. Look at that waterfall. Again, that's Ryuzu Falls in this area. So these are two imposing waterfalls that have the next ones that have claimed the title Niagara of the East on the southern islands of Kyushu. Again, not one, but two waterfalls. Look at this. That's pretty impressive. I can see why they call it the Niagara of the East. That's pretty special. Maybe not quite as big as Niagara Falls here, but okay. This one is 210 meters wide and 12 meters tall. It's called Sogi Falls, and it's pretty beautiful. Here's the other one they have in this area. In Owata Hajiari Falls. I'm probably saying that wrong. Harajiri Falls. Harajiri spans 110 meters and it stands about 20 meters tall. Look at that. Really beautiful. Gotta look at it with the background though, because that's so pretty. So there you have it. I don't know what your favorite of the falls would be. Maybe Ogawa Falls in Kagoshima. We haven't seen that one yet. I have to scroll down a little bit to get to it. Look at this one. That's pretty beautiful. You see a larger cascade toward the left, and then all the way across this rocky cliff are littler falls falling down into blue water. So beautiful. Again, that's called Ogawa Falls. It's a 46-meter drop, and the water seeping through a 60-meter wide cliff face, forming this pool of what's called extraordinary colored water. So, really relaxing. I love them all. I think my favorite might be the one with the Japanese architecture in the background, just because it's so different. Thank you so much to Gordon for recommending the Japanese waterfalls and setting me up at morethan.tokyo.com. I appreciate that. And you can always message me if there's a category for trivia tomorrow you're looking for. Kim at theafterparty.live is the way to get me. Kim at theafterparty.live for all your suggestions and articles and everything else. And thank you for the contributions that you make to the show that way. I really appreciate it. All right. I think I have time for a couple more stories. We can do it, right? Yeah. That, by the way, was Waterfall Wednesday. Kind of relaxing. Now I'm almost feeling too relaxed to do more stories. But I do have one more for you about this man who was busted stealing stones from Pompeii. You can't take those. That's not going to work out. Nope. Italian police caught a tourist stealing stones from the ancient city of Pompeii. And it's, not only illegal, but also bad juju. Because according to legend, travelers who remove artifacts from Pompeii are cursed to endure hardship. Many have realized it, kind of like taking lava rock from Hawaii. Just don't take sand from Hawaii. Don't take lava stones. Don't take cooled lava. Don't take anything from Hawaii. Don't take tikis. Did you watch the Brady Bunch episode? It'll all bring you bad luck. Same thing with this. So many people apparently have walked away with stones from Pompeii and then returned their stolen stones and stolen items years later because of the curse. This was a 51-year-old tourist from Scotland who, according to Italian police, attempted to steal 5 stones and a brick fragment from Pompeii. After they say they saw the man put the items in a backpack, a tour guide notified security, and then the Carabinieri police were able to stop this man before he could board a train home. He said, "I had no idea it was forbidden to remove artifacts from Pompeii." Really? You think you could just walk in and take stuff? No. Ignorance is no excuse. This unnamed police officer telling the London Times the guy was trying to get out of trouble, but it didn't work. It's pretty easy, he said, to understand. You can't do that because if everyone wandered off with a piece of Pompeii, there would be nothing left. So the items were returned to the ancient streets of Pompeii that was buried by Mount Vesuvius's eruption in 79 CE. The man also said he wanted the stones because he planned to give them to his son, who has a collection of rare stones. But the penalty means this man could face between 1 and 6 years of jail time and a maximum fine of about $1,700. See, I think they should make the fine a lot more. They do say that the capture of this man might be a blessing in disguise because the Pompeii's lore has legends of visitors who return home with artifacts from the preserved city and then are afflicted with hardship, loss, and grief. So, see, much better he got caught before he was able to take that stuff home. Might have saved himself a whole bunch of trouble. The police say, and the folks in Pompeii say, they got a lot of pieces sent back with notes about horrible events. They said the week that they caught the Scotsman before he could get away, they may have saved him from the curse. And they make a note of this woman from Canada in 2020 who returned 2 mosaic tiles, pieces of amphorae, and a piece of ceramic that she took from Pompeii 15 years earlier with a letter accompanying the stolen items, and she blamed them for years of misfortune. She said, "I'm 36 and I had breast cancer twice. The last time ending in a double mastectomy. My family and I had financial problems. We're good people, and I don't want to pass this curse on to my family or to my children." Now, was it the curse of taking stuff from Pompeii? Probably not. But if that's what makes you leave stuff where it needs to be left, fine. If you want to believe that and send it back, great. The park says in Pompeii that they have received about 200 returns over the last decade. Some letters telling them of sad events after stealing artifacts in Pompeii. They've had broken legs, broken ankles, all blamed on the theft of these artifacts. Others, they say, have heard the curse, so they prefer to return the artifacts as a precaution before anything bad can happen to them. They now, in Pompeii, and this is pretty smart, they have a display of all of the returned artifacts and all of the letters from regretful visitors. Like, let this serve as a warning to you. It's bad luck, and look at all the people that think so. On exhibition is a letter from a Spanish tourist who took a piece of plaster that, in their words, became a harbinger of family misadventures and misfortunes. There was a honeymooning couple from Canada who took a small terracotta statue from Pompeii. It was still in the husband's suitcase when he suffered a heart attack and died. The curse of Pompeii, according to an architectural history journal from Boston University, further perpetuates this air of mystique offered by dark tourism, and the stewards of Pompeii are now using it to their advantage by displaying the return cursed objects in the antiquarium and in the media. The custodians of Pompeii are simultaneously creating further interest in the site while protecting it from future damage. The curse brings more visitors to the park, but the threat of magical contagion keeps people in line. So there you go. Maybe it's a good thing this guy from Scotland got busted before anything bad could happen. Before he even walked away with the stuff. Got to give it all back. Let's hope he doesn't get 6 years in prison. Maybe he's learned his lesson. I don't know. Turons, you think? Perhaps. Go into the chat. I love that. Send one to Trump. Bad juju. That's right. Same curse was on Magnum PI. Yeah, you don't take anything away from Pele, not the soccer star, the goddess of fire in Hawaii. Don't do it. Cursed forever, says Calvin Wong. Another tour on, says Nullifidian. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, who goes to a place of history that's so interesting and important to the world? I mean, we talk about all the discoveries made there and glimpses into the past on the show all the time. Who goes there and steals stuff? I mean, it's kind of, you would think someone who took the time to go somewhere like this would have respect for the place. Maybe I have too much faith in people. I don't know. Ricky says the images are the best part of his day. Nice. The ice water recirculating machine is calling his name. Well, thank you for all the work that you do and for stopping in and checking out the After Party Live. Appreciate it. The last one is incredible. Yeah, talking about the waterfalls of Japan. Wonderful. All right, it is time to go. I have children to pick up at school and you have things to do, but I will meet you right back here tomorrow. Going to be a great Mark Thompson show. Tomorrow we have our trivia here on the After Party Live. And again, if you would like to help me figure out what the theme for tomorrow will be, please send me a message, kim@theafterparty.live. Oh, before I go, and I did it on Mark Thompson's show, but I was almost remiss in doing it here. I do want to, maybe I can make myself little. No, I don't know if I can make myself little or not. It's funny, when I'm little, I don't know how to make myself little or big. But I'm trying to show you the party balloons in the back because it is Wes's birthday week. I don't know how I missed it on Facebook a few days ago. And then I was going to celebrate yesterday and I got deep into the stories and ended the show and I didn't do it. So today I want to make extra sure to celebrate Wes, who is such a great contributor of the show, who makes the coolest things on his 3D printer and now is sewing this week. So I'm super impressed, and who is celebrating a birthday. Wes, we're super glad that you're part of this After Party Live community, and happy birthday to you. I hope you had a great birthday, and I hope the party continues all week long. So happy birthday to Wes. All right, everybody, it is time to go. And also, I do want to tell you tomorrow, not to forget the Nikki Maduro show at 5 p.m. That is tomorrow. So it's going to be a good Thursday, and we'll hang out together a little bit more. But until we meet again, make it the very best day, and I'll see you right back here on the YouTube. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
All right, I'm being asked for the Jacob song. Here you go, Wes. I'm sorry. I was remiss again.
You requested your happy birthday song, so I'm gonna give you one. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthdays to you.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Yay. Thank you, Doug. Woohoo. Enjoy your ice cream, buddy. Clink a spoon for Wes. Yeah, thanks to Phineas for the reminder on that one.